Really? Come on. Wi-Fi 4. I need more than Wi-Fi 4 here. Is that it? Where's the Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7? Yeah. No, still just Wi-Fi 4. This is just unacceptable. Come on. No, all we're getting in the paddock of the middle of nowhere is Wi-Fi 4. I think we need Wi-Fi 7. We are in my back paddock, or one of them at least, and yes, there is Wi-Fi here, because that's me. I need to have Wi-Fi everywhere, obviously for IoT projects, right? So in this video, we're going to look at a whole bunch of Unifi U7 devices with a specific focus on the U7 Outdoor, because I got one of them, well actually, I got two of them. I got two U7 Outdoor devices provided by Unifi, and I'm going to upgrade my outdoor Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi 7. And in the same sort of breath, we're going to look at all the other, well, there's three others, Wi-Fi 7 devices as well, which is the U7 Pro, which I've already done a video on, so I won't go through too much of it. You can watch it with the link there. And we're going to do the Pro Max, which is kind of there's some interesting features on that. And then the very different in-wall, like the U7 in-wall unit, in-wall Pro, whatever it's called, the in-wall one. We'll look at all of them, but with a focus on the outdoor one, because I need better Wi-Fi outside, obviously. Now, before we get into actually setting it all up, I'm just going to do a few tests on how much range and speed I get out here with my existing Flex HD device that we're going to be replacing, and we're going to also replace a 4.5-year-old outdoor mesh, I think they were called, the one with the bunny ears. So we're going to replace a bit, and we're going to test and see how well they work outside, because these bad boys are not only heavy, but they actually have two antennas in them. They have a omnidirectional antenna and they have a directional antenna, and you can switch them in the software. So we're going to test out and see what works best here in my scenario. But first, let me gather some test data, and then we'll just look at what it looks like before we upgrade to Wi-Fi 7. All right? Okay, let's go. So I've now wandered up the top of the hill that you saw in the background before, a bit of a walk, and we're going to test the Wi-Fi here with Wi-Fi Man again. So let's just see how far I am from the pump shed, which is where the access point is. So I've got Google Maps here, and if I scroll down here, and there's the containers, so the pump shed is about there. Measure the distance, and up to where I am, I'm up here on the hill. So how far are we? We are there, 212 meters. So yes, it is direct line of sight, but it is 212 meters from my Flex HD. So let's go to Wi-Fi Man, and we'll see what the speed test says. So I am connected to Starlink. I am on Wi-Fi 5, as you can see. I'm connected to the pump shed. So let's start a speed test, and this will test the speed. If you haven't used Wi-Fi Man, it's a great device for measuring any kind of network, not just Unifi. And then we're going to measure the connection speed from the internet to the UDM Pro, UDM SE rather, and then we're going to measure the speed from this device to the internet. I think that's how it works. Let's see what happens. So we got a latency of 34 milliseconds. And the download, ooh, that was fast today. Thanks, Starlink. 368 megabit in the middle of a hill in the middle of nowhere. Not bad. And 14 megabit upload. So yeah, welcome to Australia. And then this is the actual download I'm getting here at this spot. So you can see about 50 megabit. And then upload should be about the same, 15 or something. So not a bad connection. We're not getting the 368 megabit, but the signal is minus 80 dBm, which is decibel millimeter. I can't remember. It's that. I put it on the screen. I can never remember what that stands for, but that's the signal strength, and it's low. The lower number is good. Minus 80 is not good. So So like -40 is really good. And you can see I'm on the 40 megahertz band of the Wi-Fi 5. So that's a test up here. So that's not bad, but let's have a look at the end. I'll go up here and test it again and test the U7 Outdoor, and we'll see how that works with both the omnidirectional and the directional. I'm a bit keen. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. And this is not a Wi-Fi 7 device, by the way. So it's going to be on Wi-Fi 6 probably, but details. There aren't many Wi-Fi 7 devices around yet. If anyone wants to send me a Google Pixel 8, then that would do it. But no. Anyway, let's have a look at what's in the boxes, and we'll come back to our Wi-Fi Man rudimentary testing. It's not in depth, obviously, and then we'll go from there. So here are the two U7 Outdoor access points. Now I'm just going to open one of them here on camera, but I'm assuming they're going to be exactly the same. So put that one over here. It's a relatively large box, but that was what I expected. So let's see what's inside of it here. So, nothing left in the box. So this is the U7 Outdoor access point. These rounded edges. Oh, it's quite heavy. Yeah, it's quite heavy. Let's have a look. So here's the access point. Yeah, this feels sturdy. That's a big heat sink as well. This is a good piece of kit. Well, it feels durable, rugged, to be honest. So we have here, please ensure the rubber grommet is securely fastened to prevent water damage. Rubber grommets are important. I know, because I've had ants and bees and all sorts inside of my access points. So that's the rubber grommet is there. So we won't lose that. I'll put that on there. Anything else we can take off here? No. So there's the two antenna attachments up here, so we can put the antennas on. So there's one on the other side here. There's also a nice rubber mount in case you don't want to use the antennas. Get on there. Nope. This is an IQ test and I'm failing. Oh, there we go. All right, and there's one on the other side as well. All right. Then we have the two antennas. So this is obviously for outdoor range. Very good. They're going to go up the top there. Then there is a, oh, what's we got here? 2.4 gigahertz, 7 dBi, 3 field of view. Oh, so this is the directional antenna. You can see that's more of a cone shape, as you would expect. There's a 2.4G and 5G ranges and strengths, I guess. And then we have the omni antenna, which is when you put these ones on, it looks like. Yep. And then that has a different profile. So that is like that. But anyway, we'll test that. Very good. Here is a, what is that? It's a plate for something? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that's for. Okay. And here's obviously a mounting plate. So that is that the mount for that? I guess it is. That lines up with that. The cable comes through there. Okay. There's another mount, which is probably the one we're going to be using, the metal one. Aluminium, I'm assuming. Yep. And then we have some pole mounts here. There's two of them. And then here is the bracket for mounting it there. Goes up through there. And then, oh, so that's where that goes through. That's why there's two pole mounts. Yes, because this is quite heavy. So that's probably why it needs two. All right, but that goes up through there, like so. And then those these tie-on straps things here go through there. And there's another rubber part here where the cable goes through, and another cutout there. All right, so the cable can come up from the bottom or in through there. Very neat. And obviously that goes on this somehow. Yeah, I'm sure we figured that one out. Very good. And then there is some warranty thing and some screws. But that is it. And obviously we have two of them. So let's get to installing before we look at what they do. There's the old Flex HD right there, which we're going to take off. I am going to repurpose that in another place and take down another set of those rabbit ears, the mesh outdoor mesh access point, which are very old in Wi-Fi terms. So let's take that one off first, and I'll show you where the other one goes. All right, Flex HD is off. And as you can see, hopefully, these are outdoor rated cables. And if you don't know why that's important, go and check out the video that's linked there, because I still haven't got everything outdoor rated that should be on the farm, but we're getting there. But yeah, these are proper outdoor rated cables. Yeah, that's ready to go again. So now I'm going to put the U7 Outdoor on this side. Theory being that I'm going to have Wi-Fi up the hill, as you saw before, like up there, 212 meters away, because we want to test that. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use directional or omnidirectional. I think it's going to be omni, but I don't know. So I'm going to put the antennas on here as well. I'll do that at the end after install it. So installing it is pretty simple. We just have a bracket that goes on here. You slide that on, a couple of grommets, plug it in, and you're good to go. Now there are a couple of other brackets here as well, and this is, maybe you can help me out in the comments, I'm not sure, but the instructions say if there's a massive hole in the wall, you use that, which is like an aluminium bracket. You put that on, so, you know, and then you put that one over, and it makes it look pretty. So I think that's like if you have some standard, I don't know what it's called. I don't do this for a living, obviously. So we're not going to use those. We're just going to put that bracket on, and we're going to put everything through this one grommet and then the other grommet, and then install it. That should be it. Pilot hole isn't big enough. All right, so bracket is on. We're losing light, but we'll get there. So there's a grommet here at the bottom, which is not a type I've seen before. So it sort of slides into it, but it splits like that. So we got to put the cable up through here, through the split of the grommet, and through the split of this on the bracket. So we're not going to get any nasties in there at all. So here's the cable. This is kind of neat approach, because now I don't have to put this through the grommet first. I can just plug it in. So that's plugged in. That's going to turn on now. And we slide the grommet in, so like that. Make sure it's securely up there. And the cable goes through that slit there. And then we can slide it on here. Sorry, camera. Moving the camera. There we go. That's better. Now that's on. Put the camera back on. It's Llama Cam 1, by the way. Hello. So that's now flashing white. We got to put the antennas on, right? So while this is starting up, we can do that. There's two of these little rubber grommet on top here, like you saw before. And I'm putting these on because I don't know if I want directional or omnidirectional. I just don't know yet. So these are needed for omnidirectional apparently. These are the antennas. So I'm just going to put them on. That's it. So that is a wall mount, essentially. I mean, it's a post, but it's like a wall mount. Next, let's install one where we use a pole mount in a farm install way, but it's a pole mount. So let's replace this 4.5-year-old mesh access point that's sitting here outside with the U7 Outdoor. And yes, you may put it in the comment. This is not my job, my day-to-day job. The installation is interesting. This still needs a guide wire. That may be too close to this, etc., etc. I know this is indoor rated cable. So I know there's a few issues here. By all means, put them in the comments. I'm happy to take advice, but this is a work in progress. But first off, let's take the all access point off. And now we can put the U7 Outdoor on. So we're going to put it on here. Click. So that's now turned on. There we go. And that grommeter's on and the other one's on. Lovely. And then we just need to tighten it up and we're good. All right, a proper farm install. I had to use a spacer here because these poles are not very thick. And yes, I do have plans of upgrading this whole thing because there's some other ideas that I have in mind for improving this setup, let's just say. So yeah, put comments below. Let me know what you think I should do. I'm definitely going to put a guide wire on this because it's very wobbly. And when it's windy, it's not amazing. So, but other than that, all right, U7 Outdoor installed. The U7 Outdoor access points are installed. So let's just first have a look at the specs before we go into Unifi network application. So I've got here the U7 Outdoor listing on the Unifi store, and there's one thing here. Actually, we'll get to that in just a second. Let's just go through what it says here. So it's Wi-Fi 7, and if you don't know exactly what Wi-Fi 7 means, I did go through that in some detail in my U7 Pro video, which I've linked there. So go and check that out for a bit more detail. But essentially it means that you can get more throughput on the bandwidth. You get a 6 gigahertz band for your Wi-Fi, which was also in the Wi-Fi 6E standards. So if you checked out my video on the the Wi-Fi enterprise access point, words are hard, then I went through what that is as well, the 6 gigahertz bands there. There's 2 videos on that even. And the crux of it is that Wi-Fi 7 is going to give you better connectivity, less dropouts and more speed, more or less, but it does require you to have a Wi-Fi 7 enabled device, which there are not many of right now, and I don't have any. So why am I doing Wi-Fi 7 network? Well, I want to be prepared, and I actually think the benefits are there even if we can't use Wi-Fi 7. So this is what it is. It's a Wi-Fi 7 access point with 4 spatial streams, as it says. And of course, the party trick is the 2 different types of antennas. It has pretty good coverage, 465 square meters of open space coverage. That's with the integrated directional super antenna, because you gotta have super antennas. Anyway, I love marketing. We'll see how far up the hill we get at a bit later in the video. We have 200 connected devices, so it's relatively, it can handle crowds relatively well, and it's powered by 2.5 gigabit. So I'm being able to put this into, well, one of them, the one down at the house, that is now connected to my Unifi Pro Max switch, which has the pretty ether lighting. Again, check out the video, and that will give you 2.5 gigabit connection. So that gives you more throughput. Now up in the pump shed, no, I haven't got that there yet. That is actually a future video with a lot of upgrades. Well, more on that in another video, obviously. And then we can mount it different ways. Weatherproof, you'd hope so. It's an outdoor access point. If I scroll down here, it's 1.2 kilos. As I said, it's quite heavy. It feels solid when you pick it up, and it's relatively big. UV stabilized polycarbonate. That has always been an issue, especially in Australia where we have really strong UV lighting or UV index. Plastic just deteriorates, and that's why you use outdoor rated cables, for example. It's made from polycarbonate and steel. Yeah, that heat sink type thing on the back is, oh, so it's steel. Or is that the mounting? Anyway, yeah, it feels pretty solid. Wind survivability. I haven't seen that spec before. I'm not sure what that means, other than it's 74 newtons at 200 kilometers an hour, which sounds like a lot. So yeah, okay. Sure. If you know what wind survivability relates to, let me know in the comments. Weatherproofing IPX6. Oh, X6. So it's not rated for dust or particulates, but just fluids. Yeah, right. Okay. And 6 is not immersion, but heavy splashing or something. So that should be fine in rain and outside. It had powered by PoE Plus and has 2.5 gigabit port, as I said. And it max power consumption is 19 watts, which is quite a lot. Like that's a fair amount of wattage coming out of an access point. So there, I have high expectations, high hopes for this when we go out and test it. Now here's the thing that it didn't catch me up, but I just didn't realize this. There is no 6 gigahertz band in this access point. The U7 Outdoor only does 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So it's still Wi-Fi 7, but the bands that it offers are 2.4 and 5, whereas the others, and we'll see a little bit later as well, U7 access point also has 6 gigahertz bandwidth. So is that going to have any influence on the performance? I'm not sure. Maybe in terms of speed. We have 2x2 antennas here for 2.4 and 5, and you can see that we get up to 4.3 gigabit on 5 gigahertz throughput. Obviously, I only have 2.4 gigabit connection, so meh. There's the antenna gain. There's actually something interesting with the antennas. I'll get to that when we get into Unifi Network. And then there's the antennas here. There's a directional internal antenna, or there's the external super antennas, which we have put on. There's some LEDs, and there's some software, obviously. So that's it. Let's jump into Unifi Network. And I have already adopted them and updated them, because that happens every time. You got to update them. So down here we have the Broadcast U7. That's the one that's on the house. And then there's the Pump Shed U7, which is the one that's up the hill. So we're going to look at the Pump Shed for now, well, to start with. And you can also see that the house one is connected with 2.5 gigabit, and the other one is only gigabit. So let's have a look what we get. So this is connected, as it says, to the Pump Shed switch, which is a switch flex, a little tiny switch, which works really, really well. It currently has 3 clients on 2.4 gigahertz. Those are my switches for pumps. So on-off switches for turning pumps on and off, which are down here. And there are some stats on IP address, MAC address, etc. And then we scroll down a little bit more. We got the air stats per 2.5 and 2.4 and 5. And it looks like the transmit power here is 22 dBms, which is pretty good. I don't know what EIRP is, but that's higher. Maybe that's good. And we don't really have any data for the others because we just set them up. So parent device is the Pump Shed switch. Very good. If we go into the insights, you can see that we have 5 gigahertz running on band 46 and 2.4 running on band 6. So what I did was I went into the RF environment here, and you can see here that it's moved to 44 from 36 to optimize the wireless performance because I did a scan channels. Now I think that makes it better in my case. I've heard other stories that sometimes it doesn't make any difference, but I like to scan the channels and let Unifi optimize where it should sit for a new access point. And then if we look at the settings, I give it a name, and here is the thing I hadn't seen before. So under antenna type, I can choose built-in or omni. That's great, cool. We can set it to built-in is the directional, omni is the omni. But there's also here, whoops, antenna type. And if I hover over that, it says specify the antenna type to be used with your AP. Okay. Third-party custom antennas require the professional installer option to be enabled in network settings. I hadn't seen that before. So this is a setting in, if I go here to under system advanced, there is professional installer. And here you can certify, it's just a checkbox, but you know, I'm a professional installer of wireless equipment and grant permission to adjust advanced settings such as antenna gain, which means we can dial them up more. So just for the hell of it, I'm going to check that box right now and see what happens. Because obviously I'm not a professional installer, but it's a checkbox and I'm a nerd. So of course I'm going to see what it does. So if I go back here, and now I can choose custom. So I can set the, change the antenna. Using a custom antenna or modifying gain settings may affect performance, damage your AP, and risk non-compliance with regulatory standards. Proceed at your own risk. So this is saying you better know what you're doing, which I don't. So I'm just going to cancel it for now. But just know that you can put your own antennas on it. You don't have to use the built-in one or the supplied ones, and then you can change antenna gains, etc. Now that is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but you can. So I'm going to cancel that, and just know that you can. Now I'm going to change this to Omni because that's what I think. Oh, am I? I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it a built-in, and I'll see how much range we get up the hill, and then I'll change it to Omni. Let's see. I'll leave it for now. All right. Right, so we can choose a channel width. There's not much competition here, so in terms of speed, maybe I'll change it to 40. I'm going to change it to 40. Yeah, let me know. Would you have 20 or 40? Let me know in the comments. Transmit power, again, we have a few here. We can choose auto, high, medium, low. I'm just going to leave it on auto because, again, I'm not a professional. I'm not entirely sure what to do. For 5 gigahertz, 20, 40, or 80. But I'm actually going to change to 80. Someone's told me that 80 is, you get more speed out of it on 5 gigahertz. So let's change that. Meshing, yeah, that's fine. It's not going to be doing any meshing, as in access point to access point. And that's it. So I'm going to apply my changes. Again, really simple access point to manage. The party trick is obviously doing, you can have omnidirectional, yeah. That's the trick. So we're going to test that out. But for now, that's all there is. Not many settings because it's an access point. It doesn't do a whole lot of things. So with that, let's move on. So now might be a good time for you to consider subscribing down below, because it really helps out the channel and all of the work that I do to kind of, well, help you really. All the tutorials and the reviews and everything. And well, maybe check out the merch if you're into that, or you could do the super thanks. Leave a comment. Anything helps the channel grow and prosper. No, I really enjoy doing these videos and I really enjoy you watching, so I would love for you to be part of the community and hitting that subscribe button. Yeah, but anyway, let's get into the testing. So I'm the exact same spot as the first test with a Flex HD, 212-ish meters from the new access point, which is the U7 Outdoor. So let's see what we get for the test. Now already I'm at 70 dBm or so on the 2.4 gigahertz, and currently it's in omnidirectional. So that's the supplied antennas, the super antennas that we installed on top. So that's what's running right now, omnidirectional coverage. So let's try and start a speed test. I'm just gonna go directly from the internet to here. I'm not gonna bother with the UDM test. So let's see what that does. 67 megabit per second. Okay, so we're getting about 6 or 7 megabit. Not impressive. I think what's happening is I'm right on the cusp of the coverage of the omnidirectional antenna. So we're getting 6 megabit down, because if I move just a tiny bit down the hill, I get like 50 or something like that. So up here, it's just on the cusp. It works. I can use the internet, but it's not super fast. So let's try the real test, which is changing over the antenna. So we're into settings, radios, and we're going to change it to built-in antenna and save that. Okay, and just wait that for just to switch over. We'll see here. So I'm pretty much in the line of sight of it. Pretty much. There's not much off. So I should be right in the thick of the coverage. All right, so now it changed. You can see we're on 5 gigahertz. So all the way up here, it changed to 5 gigahertz. It's on 77. So just on cusp of 5 gigahertz. Remember, if I get out of 5 gigahertz coverage, it switches to 2.4, right? So let's start a speed test here and we'll see what we get. Yep, and suddenly with the directional antenna, I'm at what, 90 megabit, 47 milliseconds. So it's a lot quicker. The signal is a lot stronger up here, right? So, and then pretty much full speed upload. Like that's never going to be very high. 15-ish, oh, 16. Well then, ooh, it's having a good day. So yeah, with the omnidirectional, 200 meters. I still got a signal. It's pretty good, because remember the spec said 460 square meters or something, which is what? It's 20 by 20, 22 by 22 meters. This is 200, right? Yes, I'm in clear line of sight. There's no obstacles whatsoever. There's no interference here at all. It's maybe a mobile signal, but that's impressive. That's really impressive. So I have some ideas of the directional antenna, because I have a whole other part of the farm that don't have any Wi-Fi, and I could probably blast that from the house and get coverage all the way down the other corner of the farm. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Yeah. Now I did ask on my community part of the channel what you would like me to test, and that was obviously range, which we've done, and quality, etc., and speed test on the omni and the directional, so that's cool. But I was one of you that also asked for Wi-Fi calling. So we're going to test that now. I'm going to call Chris. Here we go. And put it on speaker.
Hello.
Hello. Is this clear?
Wow, it's perfectly clear.
Yeah, very good.
Crystal.
Yeah, it's the same the other way. Excellent.
Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's super clear. Like it's like any other Wi-Fi calling, to be honest. There's no difference. It works really well. We are saved by Wi-Fi calling here because there is no mobile data. So yeah, Wi-Fi calling, tick. So that's the U7 Pro. That is, let's say, the lowest spec of the U7 devices currently. So this is sort of meant for standard office installations, runs up to about 300 connected devices, so still really powerful. It has a 2x2 antenna for each of the 3 bands, so 2.4, 5 and 6 gigahertz. It runs on PoE+, and as like all the other U7 devices, it supports 2.5 gigabit, which seems to be becoming the standard for connecting these via Ethernet. So that's nice. The coverage of it is about 140 square meters according to spec. I seem to get a bit more than that, but again, depends on what kind of walls it is that you have. So that's the U7 Pro. Check out the video for it for all the details. Okay, let's see the next one. That's the U7 Pro Max. And that is currently the flagship of the U7 range, and that covers a little bit more space, 160 square meters or so it says. I think it covers a lot more. But it has this special, first of all, it's 8x8. It has 2x2, 2.4, 4x4, 5 gigahertz, and 2x2, 6 gigahertz. So it's a lot of antennas and a lot of bandwidth. It has this neat feature called spectral analysis for enhancing the channel selection so that you get interference-free Wi-Fi, which is really neat, and that seems to work quite well. But that's the first device that has that, the U7 Pro Max. And it supports up to about 500 connected devices, so a fair bit of bandwidth is supplied by this. So good thing I have it here in the Lego room with 3 devices. Oh, actually there's more, there's like 8 devices connected. So here's the 4th and last U7 Wi-Fi 7 device from Unifi, or access point. This is the In-Wall Pro, or U7 Wall Pro, which, yes, it is Wi-Fi 7. It has 2x2 antenna for each of the bands, or 6x6. It supports 300 connections, and it covers a big area of 180 square meters or something. And that's all great, but the real party trick is that this is called the wall because you can get a mount. I don't have that, I didn't do it. I might upgrade that later. But a mount that's in the wall, so you can put the device inside the wall so it sits almost flush with the wall. And you then get a cover which is paintable. So you can paint the cover of this in any color, so it pretty much becomes invisible, blends in. And that's really good for environments where design is of the essence, or you don't want to see this device sticking out. You can then paint it, which is kind of neat. So yeah, so that's the U7 lineup as the time of recording from Unifi. So that is the current range of Unifi U7 or Wi-Fi 7 devices. Which is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Obviously this video was focusing on the U7 Outdoor because that was the latest one I was installing. But there's a whole range, right? And they all do different things, as you saw. So yeah, there'll probably be more, but the U7 Outdoor is pretty awesome. I got just coverage with the omnidirectional all the way up here, which is pretty impressive, I think. And obviously that will cover, 200, so that's 400 meters diameter, pi square, whatever that is, a large area, right? So I did test the hill just over here as well, and that's similar distance. It'll be on the screen how far that was, I can't remember now. And that is just my whole farm pretty much covered by these 2 outdoor U7 access points. So I can't really fault them. It'd be nice if they had 6 gigahertz, but the 6 gigahertz is so short in range that almost doesn't matter outside. Almost, right? So that's probably why they didn't include it. But Wi-Fi 7 is definitely the future. And yeah, 100 megabit on top of the hill, middle of nowhere. I'll take that. Yeah, that works. If you enjoyed the video, do consider subscribing. I would love to have you part as the community of the channel, and leave a comment or anything. And then yeah, next video actually is going to be really cool, because I got these new things from China and I can put them on.